4. Managing IT assets throughout the lifecycle. Acquisition and procurement of new IT assets. Acquisition and procurement of new IT assets involves the process of identifying the need for new assets, evaluating available options, and making the necessary purchase or lease agreements. This process typically begins with a thorough assessment of the organization's current IT asset inventory and an analysis of any gaps or deficiencies that need to be addressed. Once the need for new assets is established, the procurement team can begin the process of researching potential vendors, soliciting bids or proposals, and negotiating contracts. It is important to consider factors such as the total cost of ownership, including maintenance and support, as well as the compatibility of new assets with existing systems and infrastructure. Additionally, compliance with regulatory requirements and alignment with the organization's overall IT strategy should also be taken into account during the acquisition and procurement process. Tracking and monitoring IT assets. Tracking and monitoring IT assets is a critical component of IT asset management. It involves maintaining a comprehensive inventory of all IT assets, including hardware, software, and virtual assets. This process enables organizations to keep track of their assets, understand their usage and performance, and ensure compliance with licensing agreements and regulatory requirements. There are various tools and technologies available for tracking and monitoring IT assets, including asset management software, network scanning tools, and asset tagging systems. These tools can help organizations automate the process of asset tracking, capture real-time data on asset locations and status, and generate reports for analysis and decision-making. In addition to tracking and monitoring physical assets, organizations also need to monitor the usage and performance of software and virtual assets. This involves implementing software usage tracking tools, license management solutions, and virtual asset management platforms to ensure optimal utilization and compliance. Overall, effective tracking and monitoring of IT assets is essential for optimizing asset utilization, minimizing risks, and ensuring cost-effective IT asset management throughout the asset lifecycle. Retiring and disposing of obsolete IT assets. Retiring and disposing of obsolete IT assets is a critical aspect of IT asset management. When it comes to retiring IT assets, it is important to have a clear process in place to ensure that sensitive data is securely removed and that the assets are disposed of in an environmentally responsible manner. The first step in retiring IT assets is to assess their current state and determine if they are truly obsolete. This involves evaluating factors such as performance, age, and compatibility with current systems. Once it is determined that an asset is no longer needed, the next step is to securely erase all sensitive data from the device. This may involve using specialized software or physically destroying the storage media. After data erasure, the next step is to decide how to dispose of the assets. This may involve selling or donating still functional equipment, or recycling and disposing of non-functional equipment. It is important to work with certified e-waste recyclers to ensure that the assets are disposed of in a responsible and environmentally friendly manner. Throughout the entire retiring and disposal process, it is important to maintain accurate records and documentation. This includes keeping track of which assets have been retired, the method of data erasure used, and the final disposition of the assets. This documentation is important for compliance and auditing purposes. By following a structured process for retiring and disposing of obsolete IT assets, organizations can minimize security risks, reduce environmental impact, and ensure compliance with relevant regulations.